is Thomas Roselle of the Cool Kids group. We replicated a study by Normand entitled Increasing Physical Activity Through Self-Monitoring, Goal Setting, and Feedback. And I will be talking to you about the project limitations that we had in replicating this study. So the first project limitation that we had was the distance between subjects, resulting in there being no independent researcher observing each of the individual participants. In the original study, there was an independent researcher that was able to take data for each of the independent researchers or each of the individual participants. And in our study, we were each responsible for taking our data ourselves and uploading it to a Google document or a Google Sheet. The way we were able to overcome this limitation was by uploading the data to a Google Sheet so everyone could see it, and then taking IOA data by taking a picture of our pedometer and then uploading it to the Google document where everyone could check what the pedometer said versus what we reported on the Google Sheet. So the next limitation we had was a time limitation. The people in the original study were able to take as much time as they needed to report their data and to do the the ABAB reversal study, whereas we only had one semester to do it, and it was a little more difficult to record all of our data in the time limit prescribed. So we had some participants that were able to record their intervention phase and their baseline phase, and other participants that were able to record their baseline intervention. It just depended on when the data was stable or not. The next limitation that we had was the lack of tangible reinforcement and the lack of motivation presented to each of the individual participants. The participants did not undergo a preference assessment before the study began in the original study, nor in the replication of the study that we did. And because of there being no preference assessment and there being no tangible reinforcement, or there being a reinforcer based on what the preference of each individual participant was, there was a lack of motivation to actually increase the steps, because we found during the study that the verbal reinforcement that was prescribed in the original study was not enough to actually keep us motivated to increase our steps. So the next limitation that we had was the criteria only being met for 4 out of the 7 days. Because this was the case, it took us less time to meet the stability and to meet the criteria for moving onward than you would have originally expected, and this was definitely a limitation. The next limitation we had was the different exercise routines due to pre-planned events, marathons, and trainings. If you watched Deb's video already, then you know that one of the Megan's data was a little bit skewed based on a pre-planned event of a marathon that changed her step total drastically during one of the days. And based on the lack of each individual person's consistent schedule being able to plan what they were going to do for the day and the way that they were going to increase their steps for the day, it changed the way that each participant was able to consistently increase their steps as the study prescribed. And the last limitation that we had was the total daily access to each participant's pedometer was limited due to human error. So this means that there was a lack of ability to keep the pedometer on during the prescribed times, just based on human error, whether or not we snapped it off jumping into the car, or forgetting to put it on in the morning or what have you, it was difficult to keep each participant consistently putting the pedometer on from the moment they woke up to the moment that they went to bed. And this was due to human error and was definitely a project limitation because a couple of us had that moment when it would have fallen off or what have you, reset or whatever, just based on human error and the technological error. And these were the project limitations that we had during replicating the Norman study. And that's what I have for you. So thank you.